What's up? It's your boy Fanon. All right. Got a little bit of an interesting one. I had been listening to my man Blue Blood Sports TV talking about something at another channel, Barbershop Conversations, an interview that Deontay Wilder did, and a conversation about Deontay Wilder's viewpoint on Roy Jones Jr. But then, man, in the midst of doing the research for it, I run into something that Roy Jones Jr. said about both Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. That really, man, it was really surprising. And it pretty much, he called them both bums, man, and called them both bums and told Tyson Fury that if Tyson Fury didn't wipe the floor with both of them, then he must be a bum himself. So it's just like, wow, man. I had heard Tyson Fury Roy Jones Jr. talk about Deontay Wilder. I know that Deontay Wilder really doesn't understand the dislike the sense of dislike that he gets from Roy Jones Jr. and other established, former champions, American champions. And I'd also heard Roy Jones Jr. say something about when he was talking about the potential bout between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua, he basically saying that he wasn't ready and saying that he wasn't at his peak. Deontay Wilder was kind of at his peak, but Anthony Joshua wasn't near his peak, and therefore, that he wanted to wait for that bout to be held off until such a time as they were both closer to their peak. But with what Tyson Fury is saying, I mean, that's something even above and beyond that. And this is something that Tyson Fury had said to BT Sports out of the UK, and ahead of his June 9th return against Safiri Safari. I know I'm probably killing that guy's name or messing that guy's name up, so forgive me. But I'll go through the article in detail, and I think that it's just really, really enlightening, man. Because I've said for a long time, and it pretty much, if people listen to my channel long enough and listen to the videos where I talk about the heavyweight division, although I am definitely a supporter of Deontay Wilder, I've come to be more of a supporter of Deontay Wilder than I was originally because of all of this and seeing what kind of a stand-up guy he is. And, but starting off, man, I'm a big fan of Tyson Fury. And I think until proven otherwise, that Tyson Fury should be considered the man in the heavyweight division. Now, hey, I want to thank everybody that came to the live chat earlier, or the live stream earlier. Thank you to everybody that subscribes to the channel and hits the bell icon so that they can see the content as it comes through. And thank you for everybody that supports on Super Chat, Venmo, and Patreon. And we really do have a very good boxing community on this channel that's developed over the last year. And I invite you to join and continue, and to talk to us, and a lot of very active and interactive subscribers and commenters on both the videos and the live stream. So let me go through this, and then I'll share my thoughts a little bit more in depth. And this came out from boxingnewsandviews.com today, earlier this morning. The great Roy Jones told Tyson Fury what he wants to see from him against Anthony Joshua, and had some to the point, no nonsense words for the former champion. To this day, Roy Jones is one of the only two men in boxing history to capture a world title at middleweight and all the way up at heavyweight against John Ruiz. In his prime, Jones was perhaps one of the most gifted boxers ever, terrifying opponents with his speed and power and unorthodox reflex-based style. Recently, Jones met Tyson Fury, and the two exchanged words on the current heavyweight landscape. Fury, when speaking to BT Sports, revealed what was said. I was speaking to Roy Jones recently, and he said that if you can't come back and wipe the floor with all of these then you must be a bum yourself. He said you're never going to be great like me if you can't beat them all, can't beat all of them back to back. I said, right, it's a deal. I'm going to wipe the floor with all of them. He said, yeah, but it doesn't count if you don't hit AJ with 6 left hooks in a row. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. That was terrible reading. AJ with 6 left hooks in a row first. So that's my challenge. Wipe them all out. Fury returns next weekend, June 9th at the Manchester Arena against Safiri. And please forgive me to the family and fans of the opponent of Tyson Fury for not pronouncing his name correctly. So you hear what he says. And, like I said, I'm a big supporter of Deontay Wilder. I've talked about this whole thing, ad nauseum about the bouts between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, the potential for that matchup to be made. I spent a lot of time talking about the things that Eddie Hearn said, the contract offers that have gone, the media conversations that have gone back and forth, the things that have been reported about the contract offers that have been made from one boxer to the other boxer. And I've gotten to the point where I was pretty detailed about them, and I have, as much as you can looking this far from the outside, a real good understanding of what was going on, at least the timeline and the situation where it currently stands between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Now, I also have on a side subject, as it relates to the belts that are held by Anthony Joshua, I have been very consistent in saying that I believe those are Tyson Fury's belts. The way that I see the heavyweight division, the way that I see, because I think the heavyweight division is different than other divisions, in that I think that it is absolutely positively the pinnacle of boxing. And the heavyweight champion of the world is the champion of boxing. I've said it many times. I believe it. I'm gonna believe it till I close my eyes for the last time. The heavyweight champion of the world is the champion of boxing. He's the top guy. Heavyweight's not even a weight class, because anybody can move up there no matter how small they are and how big you are. If you're a heavyweight, anybody can come. And like Adrian Broner says, anybody can get it. Anybody can move on up there and do it. So Tyson Fury, to me, never lost in a ring. He took the belts off of the guy that held the belts, being Vladimir Klitschko. Those belts being the IBF, the IBO, the WBA Super, the WBO, and the WBO heavyweight titles. He did that 2 years ago in November, getting close to about 2.5 years ago, and he's undefeated. He's never lost in the ring. And in my eye, that makes him the heavyweight, the owner of those belts. There was a lot of different issues that took place, and a lot of people speculating about why it was that Tyson Fury doesn't have the belts now. His personal issues, right? He's talked about having made it to the top of the mountain, the mountaintop and what have you. But, it is what it is. He never lost in the ring. Same thing, I believe, applied to Muhammad Ali when he had his championship, because at that time it was just one champion. That championship taken from him for the stance that he took related to domestic matters in the United States. So that's how I view Tyson Fury. And I think that Roy Jones calling Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua that pejorative term for, not very good boxers, compared to Tyson Fury, I have to say, man, if Tyson Fury is where Tyson Fury was when he fought Vladimir Klitschko, I think that I would favor, and I've said this many times, I favored Tyson Fury over Deontay Wilder. And I think Deontay Wilder has a better chance against Tyson Fury than Anthony Joshua does. But I think that Tyson Fury, I would favor Tyson Fury to win that bout if Deontay Wilder doesn't knock him out. Now Deontay Wilder has absolute ridiculous power. He's very fast. He's very unorthodox. Not just like Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is unorthodox himself, but he's, I just think he's a better boxer. And that 85-inch reach, 6'9" with an 85-inch reach, I just think that is something that is, that is very, very significant. Now, facing Anthony Joshua, I don't even think that's a close fight. I don't think it's a remotely a close fight. I think Anthony Joshua gets absolutely, it's a walk in the park. From what I can see. I think Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua is a walk in the park for Tyson Fury. So as far as what Roy Jones Jr. said, saying, acknowledging, at least according to Tyson Fury, that Tyson Fury should be able to beat these guys back to back to back, I can understand where he's coming from. But at the same time, going back to what was said by Deontay Wilder, or at least I have not heard Barbershop Conversations video yet. And it's a 2-hour video. I hear that is absolutely excellent. And that's why I'm saying that I listen to Blue Blood Sports TV and his commentary on it. I have not had time today to listen to, I want to be able to pick up some popcorn and just sit down and have time to relax and go through that, to go through that interview very slowly. The way I listen to those things, I might have to rewind it a couple times just to make sure that I hear and I understand what he's saying. But the gist of the point about Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson was that Deontay Wilder, might not even shake these guys' hands if he meets them in person. Deontay Wilder might not shake these guys' hands if he meets them in person because he doesn't understand because he doesn't appreciate how they have what he feels is disdain towards him, and how as Americans and Americans, Black Americans, how we should support one another. And even if it is, well, actually, I don't want to say that because I haven't heard the video, but regardless of who it is, whether it's Mikey Garcia, if it's Mikey Garcia, getting in the ring with Josh Taylor, or Anthony Yard, fighting, getting in the ring with Khalid, what is his name, man? God, dog. David Benavidez or whatever. If there are two Americans in the ring with each other, and you come from the same place, you guys have faced the same challenges, right? Like being from the South, the case for being from the South with Roy Jones and Deontay Wilder, that they should support it, that you should expect them to support one another. Now, as great as, I agree with that, at least what he's saying, to a very, very large extent. And, when I first heard Deontay Wilder, I came into this conversation because this is not the first conversation that Deontay Wilder has expressed frustration with, the legends of boxing, right? The living legends of boxing. And the first one that I was aware of was his issue with Mike Tyson. And it's still very clear that Mike Tyson doesn't necessarily like the dude too much. And I don't know what to associate that with, but at the beginning, when I heard how Deontay Wilder had talked about him, Tyson, my thought was, hey, you should respect your elder. Mike Tyson, I think, is 50. He's like 50 years old. I don't know if he might be a little bit older than 50. And I think Deontay Wilder if Mike Tyson's 51, I think he's 51, and Deontay Wilder is, 32. Mike Tyson literally is old enough to be his father. So my first take on that was, look, you should be polite, be courteous to your elders, whether you agree with them or you do not agree with them. That was my original take on it. And one of the things that really, once I was on a YouTube channel, made it difficult for me, maybe 8 months ago, well, 10, 11 months ago, to really be supportive of Deontay Wilder as a person, because it's just very much ingrained into me that to respect your elders, right? And especially in a workplace, like something as significant, like an issue in basketball, like the way that Michael Jordan was very respectful of Dr. J, or Shaquille O'Neal was very, very respectful of his previous of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? The way that, but sometimes, man, you run into situations where people are going to be who those people are. And I know, for example, that Muhammad Ali had a lot of issues. There were a lot of people that had issues with Muhammad Ali, with the way that Muhammad Ali spoke, the way that Muhammad Ali carried himself. It was, it was a little bit, from what I understand, it was offensive to Rocky Marciano. It was offensive to Joe Louis, specifically the beef that took place in the early part of their careers between Muhammad Ali and Joe Louis, because Muhammad Ali was very, very dismissive of Joe Louis when Muhammad Ali was coming up. When he was still Cassius Clay, he'd say, look, I basically saying that he would wipe the floor with Joe Louis, and then Joe Louis was too slow. I think he said he's too slow, he's too small, he's not as talented, he's not as good as me. And, in his brashness really said some things that turned off not only Joe Louis, but turned off a lot of people who were Joe Louis fans. And so I was, thinking at a certain point, maybe that is, what had happened with Deontay Wilder and Mike Tyson. But that's not the case with Deontay Wilder and Lennox Lewis, Deontay Wilder and Evander Holyfield. It seems like Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis are a lot more supportive of Deontay Wilder. And that would be a nice thing to see. Like when Deontay Wilder retires and he gets older, will he be will he think the same way of the younger fighters that come up underneath him, right? So I think that he has that Deontay Wilder had made that viewpoint. And that's not the first time I've heard Deontay Wilder say that. I think Deontay Wilder has a very good point. But really, I don't really think that that's anything that's going to, I don't think that's anything that's going to change with Mike Tyson. But as far as Roy Jones Jr., Roy Jones Jr. is not on. This is going to sound really funny to people, but Roy Jones isn't Roy Jones is a former heavyweight champion, but he's not nobody. He fought and beat, got one of the belts off of John Ruiz, and he is a legend in boxing. But I don't think that anybody would really consider Roy Jones Jr. to be a legendary heavyweight, right? So, Roy Jones is going to say what Roy Jones has to say. I think that it should just be like water off a duck, off a duck's back to Deontay Wilder, really, because I think Deontay Wilder really does. If he does what he wants to do, he has the ability to set himself above Roy Jones Jr. And by that, I mean, he has the opportunity to be a unified heavyweight champion of the world. And when I said, when I began this conversation, I believe that you cannot get any higher in boxing than to be the heavyweight champion of the world. And as of right now, there is no the heavyweight champion of the world. There are only champions. Deontay Wilder's a champion. Tyson Fury is a champion. And I don't yet think that Anthony Joshua is yet really a champion until he beats either Deontay Wilder or he beats Tyson Fury. Because all of the belts that Anthony Joshua holds, which are the IBO, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO, all of those truly belong to Tyson Fury. And until he beats Tyson Fury in the ring, it's like Joe Louis versus Ali. You're not the champion until you beat the man who owns those belts. Ring belt as well. Now, as far as that lineal stuff, that's a bit more of a debate, but either the lineal champion of the world is Deontay Wilder or it's Tyson Fury. The way that I see it, in my opinion. And and that is what it is, but I do find it real funny that Roy Jones Jr. will call both of those dudes bums. Funny. But anyway, with that, I'm out. Peace.